Hello, Carl here with Sustainability Theory News. We're over at oldworldgardenfarms.com, and they have a great article on how to keep tomato plants healthy. I have a saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if you can prevent problems from taking hold, well, heck, that's better than trying to cure them later on. Pictured is a tomato plant just decimated by blight. It could be early blight or late blight, but basically you start seeing some browning or blacking of the leaves, starting at the blossoms, usually working their way down and dying off of the plant. That's a systemic disease. The whole plant is usually affected, but you can trim it and keep the disease somewhat at bay. But first off, prevention: rotate where you plant your tomatoes. You should always rotate your crops, and you don't want to have different nightshade family plants like potatoes and tomatoes. You shouldn't grow them in the same bed year after year because they're the same family of plants. You want to swap out maybe a legume or a leafy green instead of your tomatoes or potatoes. Start off with a calcium boost, maybe some crushed eggshells or another organic calcium supplement. Now that will help prevent blossom rot and a few other diseases. Maybe you want to give it a little iron as well, or Activovate, I believe is the name of a beneficial bacteria that protects plants from fungal diseases while adding a little iron as well. Then mulch your plants. They talk about adding a little layer of mulch, maybe some rye straw, maybe it's wood chips, but that will help prevent splashing of mold spores when the rain hits the ground and bouncing up onto the plants. It will also help retain the moisture of the plants. I like to do a flood and drain sort of irrigation for my tomatoes where I give them a whole lot of water, maybe once or twice a week while they're fruiting, but while they're growing, I give them a whole lot of water throughout the week. A lot of people prefer dry farming tomatoes. They get a nice tastier fruit when you just give them only enough water to survive and thrive. All right, prune your plants as they grow. Now, good tip for this is make sure you clean your pruning knife or scissors in between plants because you might end up actually spreading diseases from plant to plant. Maybe you have a little thing of rubbing alcohol in your pocket. Maybe you soak a rag with it and just wipe it off. That's what I did. And it helped pretty well. By the time my tomato plants started getting blight, I already had more than enough tomatoes, and it was pretty close to the end of the season. Speaking of end of the season, clear the plants when the season ends. They recommend burning them, which is what I did actually. I took the leftover tomato stems and stalks, put them in a burn pile, let them dry out, and then I took those ashes and mixed them with some compost, had a nice biochar. When you mix biochar with compost, it actually creates what's called African dark earths or terra preta in South America. It's almost an infinite soil fertility mechanism, or rather amendment that you can add to your soil. Well, a lot of tips mentioned in this article that I didn't even talk about. Of course, the link will be in the description. And if you'd like to see more news headlines like this, subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.